Hello, and today we'll continue with Kingsguard. This is Ramos' route. You boys make yourselves at home. I'll make us a pot of tea before I get started on supper. Oh, and you can just place that basket anywhere. I'll get the photo of them later. The woman disappeared, moved further in, disappearing from view around the corner. You made your way inside and watched as Ramos had to duck quite a bit to fit through the door. Once he was inside, though, he was several inches from hitting his head on the ceiling. If he jumped, there was a chance that his horn might end up getting stuck in the ceiling, leaving him dangling in the air like a chandelier. You chuckled and sat yourself at a nearby table covered with a colorful knitted cloth and groaned. My legs are killing me. Ramos struggled to sit in a chair that groaned under his pressure. You were sure it was going to break under his weight, but it looked like it was just sturdy enough to hold him. You glanced around, taking in the features of the humble hut. You felt a bit strange from the disparity from the quality of living between you and this woman. For one thing, there weren't any servants who welcomed you in, but that was a given. The floors were made of what looked like a cheap wood, not marble or stone. What meager light the home provided was from the small fireplace and a few candles compared to your chandeliers and hundreds of wall sconces. Even the furniture looked well worn and used to be expensive and artisan crafted seating you had so often found not that comfortable. She probably only had a few rooms in her home as well while you had enough space to probably fit the entire village and then some. From around where she had gone, a pleasant smelling scent wafted in the air. It smelled of chicken, stock, and spices, and your mouth began to water immediately. I didn't realize how hungry I was until now. Something smells amazing. That'll be dinner. Should be ready in a bit. Greta placed down a kettle and poured you and Ramos cups of steaming tea. Thank you, but you really don't have to go this far for us. Nonsense, haven't had guests in ages, so it'll be my pleasure. Ramos sniffed his cup first before taking a quick sip with a disgruntled face. Tea not to your liking? Sorry, more of an ale man. Well, I can't help you there. Only place to get a drink in this town's at the tavern. Figures. Ramos went ahead and downed the tea despite the look of displeasure still on his face. With that, Greta disappeared into the other room again, and you heard the clank of metal and smell of whatever she was cooking swell. In a few minutes, she returned with a heavy pot in hand and placed it on the center of the table. After again serving, she crossed her palms together and said grace. While you weren't the most religious person to be respectful, you did the same. Ramos, on the other hand, began to eat, lifting the bowl and emptying the contents into his mouth without ever touching a spoon. And we thank you for blessing us with this bounty so that we do not go hungry this night. To the God's graces. To the God's graces. There wasn't much in the soup, mostly just water and spices, sparse pieces of vegetables, and a few chunks of what you believe to be meat, but the flavor was amazing. Help yourselves to as much as you want. I made sure to cook plenty. It ain't half bad, I'll give you that. Ramos scooped himself another helping before you were even halfway done. So, do you live here by yourself? Yes. My man died years back. Kids left the country to see the world. Now I'm just a lonely widow in this old house. Nice to have a bit of company, though. Helps remind me of the good old times. Oh, but enough about me. I was gonna tell you about the town, wasn't I? Please, I've been wondering why it's in shambles. This place looks like it must have been quite busy in the past. And that it was. We were assigning a jewel in a rough, and I wouldn't know. I've seen one, a big one too, a sparkle like with the. Anyway, this old town was bustling with travelers and traders long ago. We had knickknacks from all around. It was a peaceful time, always dancing and singing, and at the end, so many handsome men wandered through too. How I met my husband, bless his soul. Oh, then those bandits did come. Gruffy and his men were our peacekeepers, chasing away all manner of trouble, so we had nothing to worry about. He kept us safe for the first few times they came, but they just kept coming. We were raided day in and day out. Gruffy was unable to keep up. His men killed every day, and his wife taken from him. It was a terrible time. They burned our fields, stole whatever they could get their grubby hands on, took women and children into the forest for the gods know what. There was naught to do but lock our doors real tight when the stars started twinkling and keep the kids hidden in the cabinets when we heard their hollering outside. It wasn't long before they had taken most of what we had, leaving us only with the clothes on our backs and what few lives remained. People stopped coming by to a town so dangerous as ours, and you could see it's taking its toll on old Whitewoods. I assume these raiders were beastmen then. Both human and beastmen. Beastmen employed by humans to do the raiding, but no one saw hair nor hide of the humans in hiding. How is it you know this? I see a lot from my windows, beastmen meeting with the humans outside of towns, counting and splitting their takings. So Gruffy hates Ramos because he's a beastman then? He's a good man, just broken. When it was all over, they found his wife in the forest. I started to think of what they did to her out there. Since that day, I've never seen that man without a bottle in hand and a sway to his step. So we weren't the only ones attacked then. Plenty of villages like this get raided by bandits, especially out in Farhawan, though hearing it like this sounds like it was planned carefully. I will say it was odd. They came much more prepared than any old bandits before. Armor, weapons, clothing. It certainly looked like it was from around here. Ramos, do you think maybe guys could have had a hand in this? Hard to say. Never met the man, and besides, this was from years ago. But from what I heard from Leo, there was a chance. Sounded like a conniving son of a bitch who knows what's going through his mind. Could be doing this to shake up the country. Could just be a coincidence. Well, if it really is him, he'll pay. He'll pay for everything he's done. I see that you two sound like you've been through a lot. Where y'all say y'all were from again? Oh, Havana. Ramos. Oh, that's the capital, and my kids told me all about how they wanted to visit when they were still little youngins. But what are y'all doing down here? And how's your wind up? And how's you wind up in the woods? Our ship was wet in a storm. We wound up traveling inland until we found this village. I see, poor things. Been trying to get this kid to his folks in a town called Forth. I take it you probably haven't heard of it. Can't say I have. Just know this village, the capital, and on line to the north. Say, you were looking for a doctor, weren't you? Well, if you haven't found one, perhaps Lion might be the place. Lion's that nearby, huh? You know of it? Well, you live under a rock in that castle. Lion is famous for its ale. Oh, I think I remember Corello teaching me about it. It's a Melissa city in charge of training recruits to defend Yasin, if I remember correctly. That's not what's important. Passed on my way through to Havana. but haven't yet found a town that serves ale as good as there. Seriously, is that all you think about? Well, miss, I'm sorry, I don't think we got your name. I didn't give you my name. Oh my, how silly of me. Must be getting old with how you were able to lift that basket. Trust me, I think you got plenty of years left in you. Well, aren't you just a charmer? Hey, who's my name's Greta. Caden is my name. Probably already heard it from the kid, but the name's Ramos. Well then, Caden and Ramos were lovely names. Greta, can you tell us how far a line is from here? Well, for a horse, you could get there in half a day, so perhaps 2 days walking. That far, huh? You could try asking around town, see if anyone could lend you a horse fairly well trained around here. Give it a bit old slap, and it comes running back home. That would be really helpful, but you've already done so much for us already. Well, it ain't like you're borrowing my horse. I can think of a few men who still owe me some favors. Yeah, I like the way that you think. We're hardy folk around here. Have to look out for ourselves as well as one another. Of course, I don't mean we can't twist a few arms now and then. Well then, thank you. I can't think of anything we have to repay you. Not to worry, having you two here as company is good enough. When I get the chance, when I get a chance, I'll make sure to pay you properly. I may not look it right now, but I have a lot of money. I'll fix, I'll help fix up this town, make it into the shining jewel it once was. Greta merely smiled and reached over to pat you on the head. Despite how it made you feel like a child, especially when Leandros did it, you didn't move away. If you just stopped on by every now and again, that would be all that'd be all that I needed. I promise. As soon as you had your fill, Greta cleaned up the table. 2 months of your protest of water to help, she urged you to simply sit by the fire and warm up. When she came back out, your nose was filled with a sweet and reminiscent scent. Hope you all have some room for dessert. In her hands were 2 plates of apple pie, still steaming. Ramos patted his stomach like a drum. Always got room here for that. As full as you were, the smell was just beyond tempting. Once he handed you your plate, you dug in. The taste of cinnamon, nutmeg, and soft warm apples filled your mouth with bliss as one bite turned into 5 more. You finished the entire slice, and despite your gut feeling like it was about to burst, you didn't regret it in the slightest. That hit the spot. Line has the best apples, especially this time of the year. I was going to bake this for Martha and her young'uns, but she's been spoiling them with enough sweets. Well, thank you. It was delicious. No one can beat me when it comes to my pies. And keep your promise to see me again, and I'll make sure to have another cooling on the window when you return. I'll be sure to return soon then. After a few minutes of letting your food settle down, you all got up as she showed you to your room, or rather her children's old room. There was something a bit off, though, once you entered. There was only one bed. The kind lady popped her head in suddenly. I almost forgot. I'm not made of money, and my kids always slept together. Hope you don't mind it too much. You glanced over at the bed. It was big, easily enough to fit Ramos in, but the prospect of him possibly tossing and turning and either pushing you off or worse, crushing you made you want to next idea. We'll work it out. Ah, well, pleasant dreams. Like a gopher in the hole, she hid from view. Well then, you turned around and found Ramos had already taken a liking to the bed. He sat at the edge and began to move his clothes until he was just down to his underwear. The frame creaked under his weight as he made his way in, and you questioned if it could hold you as well. What, you want to sleep in here too? Well, yeah, I don't want to sleep on the cold floor again. Why not sleep on a chair out there? Still, there's plenty of blankets for you. Ramos turned his back to you and started to make himself more comfortable. You stripped down to your underwear as well, knowing that how much of a furnace he was, and forced yourself into the bed, placing your back into his. There was already little space from the bed, and you were so close to the edge that you were about to fall over. Hey, I thought I told you there wasn't enough room. Stop complaining and screw over. I know you have space over there. You're not going to toss and turn right. Don't know. Might have some scary dream tonight and won't be able to help it. Don't blame me, though, if I push you off the bed or roll over you, though. Despite how nice it felt to finally be in the bed again, you wished with all your might that once the morning sun woke you up, you would be back at home. That everything until now would just be a hellish nightmare. It seemed every night you told yourself that. Once again you were lulled to sleep by the rhino's heavy, rhythmic breathing. Something doesn't feel quite right. My body feels so sluggish. I can't see anything, hear anything. But why? Why is it so cold? It's surrounding me. I can't breathe. You were deep underwater, slowly being dragged down to the bottom. Wherever you were, you had to get out. Your arms, they felt so weak, but still you struggled with all your might to swim to the surface before you passed out from lack of air. The light above you became brighter and brighter until you rose to the surface, flailing around, desperate to grab onto something to lessen the burden of having to stay afloat. But there was nothing, and you had to swim with all your might until you reached the water's edge. Every part of you ached. You had that water from your stomach and lungs. When you called out for help, your voice was hoarse and didn't go far despite the acoustics of the cave. Somehow you managed to pull yourself up out of the water onto rocky but dry ground. You turned around and collapsed onto your back, breathing heavily. Your entire body stiffened, and you soon couldn't feel your fingers or toes. Am I going to die? You could do little but stare at the ceiling, which seemed oddly familiar. Footsteps came from behind you, or what you believed were footsteps, but soon your hearing began to go. What last you heard was someone screaming your name frantically. You closed your eyes and accepted fate. Caden, it's time to get up. Sunlight trickled in from the window. A nice breeze brought the smell of clean sea air, and the constant calling of seagulls gingerly woke you. You quickly took a glance in. This was a bedroom. Good morning, Caden. You took a quick look at your right, and your already wide eyes grew even bigger. Kisiro? He had a gentle smile on his face. While it was relieving to know that he was alive, the smile was unsettling for some reason. He almost never smiled, almost never showed emotion, yet that grin upon his face looked genuine. But that was besides the point. He was alive. You're alive. A steady stream of tears ran down your face, and you leaped forward from your bed and wrapped your arms around the fox. Never in all of your years did you think you would be this happy to see him. I thought we would never see you again. Caden, what are you talking about? We looked. Well, I wanted to look longer. I wanted to wait for you and Leon, but what does that matter now? At least I know that you're safe. Caden, I'm not sure that I'm following. Safe? Alive? Do you have a bad dream? You pulled away from the fox and he wiped the tears from your face. What? The monster, the storm. Don't you remember? We were thrown overboard and I ended up on the beach separated from you all. But I found Ramos and Castillo pushed a finger up to your lips. It was all just a dream, Caden. A dream? But that can't be. Everything was so real, so you just came from you just came to from the pool of light. The high priest did mention something about this before he left. Whatever you witnessed in the pool, it would be as though he had just had a dream, as though he just had a dream, a vision. Caden, I don't know what you saw in there, but everything is fine here and now. The pool, but that was over a week ago. You just entered it yesterday, Caden. No, that can't be. The coronation. Father was killed. The castle was under attack. We fled home and I was attacked, and now I have a scar on my back. Just look. You sit there around and rose your shirt to conceal your back. For some reason it didn't hurt, but you were so confused and full of questions right now that you thought little of it. See? I almost died, don't you remember? There isn't anything there, Caden. What? As I said, this was all just a vision shown to you through the poor light. I know what I saw, I know what I felt. Conceal gently brought your shirt back down, then placed both of his hands on your shoulders. His smile had faded. You must have looked like a complete psycho because his face and eyes showed so much concern and worry. It will take some time for you to realize it. But just know that none of that really happened. You are safe and well in your home. Now come, you missed out on dinner and didn't want to wake you for breakfast because you looked so tired. I had to self-prepare you a bit of an early lunch, and after that we will meet with Daddy. He wanted to see you yesterday, but we urged him that you were to rest. I imagine he's quite eager to see you now. Daddy. Conceal moved away from you, over to your wardrobe, and fumbled through your clothing. Let's see here. This. No, too classic. Perhaps this one? Wait, last time he said he hated this color. This is still in here. I thought I told the servants to toss it out. A pile of fabrics began to build up around Casiro until he was ankle deep in squads, sweaters, blouses, undergarments, trousers, and all manner of clothing. Oh, this looks perfect. I think he'd love to see you in this today. The fox ignored the mess he made and skipped over it as he made his way back to you. Curious of why he went to such lengths to pick out your outfit, you climbed out from under the covers and sat at the edge of the bed. He was grinning from ear to ear, humming to himself with his tail wagging playfully behind him as if he had not a care in the world. But as Casiro returned, you quickly realized there was something clearly wrong with what he chose. Well, what do you think? He looked so proud of his choice that he suddenly felt a little guilty about telling him how you really felt about it. In his fuzzy hand was a leather collar, accompanied by a massive leather leaves coiled up to his side. There was no way you were getting caught dead with that on. You thought he might have been joking, but the smile showed he was very serious. Don't you have something else to go with it? Oh no. So want me to just wear that? Is there something wrong with it? I think you would look just fine in it. You haven't had the opportunity to wear it yet, either. You see what, do you think that's a little, The fox cocked his head to the side, unable to even comprehend what he was showing you. A little, bear. Well, we are trying to show you off, of course, but I think all eyes will be on you once you step into the room. I'm pretty sure there will be plenty of people looking. Well, shall we try on? What? He reached forward to lift your shirt over your head and you struggled under his grasp. If there was one thing that you hated in the world, it was other people dressing you, no matter who they were. You kicked and punched the air as you tried to get Castillo to stop, but all of your attempts missed and he still kept going. Caden, what are you doing? I can't take off your clothes with you moving around like this. Stop. And both of your struggles, the fabric began to stretch. You wrestled even more with the fox, and soon his claws became entangled until finally your shirt was torn to shreds on the floor with bits and pieces still in the Vulpine's hand and caught on his claws. A cold wind blew in from the window, and you shivered uncontrollably. What do you think you're doing? Dressing you, of course. What? You said it so matter-of-factly, like it was just a daily thing. No, 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 no. Sorry, but I don't like people dressing me. I thought I told you that. Especially in that. Are you seriously wanting me to wear that? Wait, why do I even have that in my wardrobe again? Oh, this must be a joke. What? Alright, Caden. Alright. You got me. But we shouldn't keep Daddy waiting. You still try to reach for your pants, but you moved your legs in and crab walked to the other side of the bed. Lucille, what's gotten to you? Lucille, what's gotten into you? Caden, I could say the same about you. Why are you being so difficult this morning? Difficult? You didn't know what was going on, but as Casero started to crawl up onto the bed after you knew that something was wrong. Actually, now that you had spent some time fully awake, you noticed that things were not entirely familiar to you. Your bed, for instance, was never this color of wood. The walls were a different pattern, and even Casero had a different personality. It shows us it has more stuff to it, so. This is another dream, isn't it? Casero stopped crawling forth. Caden, I told you already. No, you're not real. Something wasn't right about this place, but this was your bedroom. Something wasn't right about this place. This wasn't your bedroom. This wasn't your home. But Casero had said that you had just left the poor light yesterday was a lie. There was no way that none of that didn't happen. It was all too real, and none of this made any sense. You tried slapping your face with both hands, but you didn't appear any closer to waking up. Casero once again stopped to creep forward, but you didn't want to be near him. Not near that that imaginary form. You picked up a pillow and quickly tossed it at Casero before leaping off the bed and dashing for the door. It served as a slight distraction, but wouldn't last long. That fox could easily leap the distance from the bed and tackle you to the ground long before you reached the handle. As you opened the door, it quickly slipped out. You saw the fox reach out a hand. Caden, wait, please. Trapped in your home once again, only this time it was different than before. Nothing was as you remembered it. Every hallway, every door, window, staircase was unfamiliar to you. Damn it, where the hell am I? You dashed around the castle, trying to find your way. It was as if you were a kid again, lost, scared, alone, wandering the castle with no sense of direction, unable to recall what room was what. The servants all looked at you funny. The guards attempted to stop you to find out what was wrong, but you slipped through their grasp. It didn't help that you were half naked running through the castle with sweat dripping down your face. Anyone would have had questions. All that you could do was take the first staircases that you saw down until you reached the lowest level. From there you could make a mad dash out of this castle and settle down in the streets of Havana, if you were even in Havana. In any case, you needed someplace quiet, someplace to be alone unnoticed, to fully grasp what was happening. If this was a dream, then why were you not waking up? Pacing didn't seem to help in the slightest, but your exhaustion for running around was as real as it could be. None of this is real. None of this is real. You had to repeat it to yourself 100 times, but your eyes, your sense of touch and smell, the beating of your heart, and pain building up in your feet. It was all far more real than you cared to admit. Finally, you reached a room that you somewhat recognized. A set of large doors at the end of a corridor, guarded by a set of knights in shining armor. There had to be the exit, but you couldn't just waltz right out, and it wasn't because of what you were wearing. Even this place was unfamiliar to you. The guards and servants all apparently recognized you. If this dream was anything like your real life back at the castle, you would never be allowed out. Still, you had to try. The only other exit, anyways, would have been the secret one in the Hall of Regency, but how long would it take to find that if it was even still there? You stepped forward with dignity, hoping to use your sway as prince to command them to let you go. Caden. Out from the saddle stepped the fox right on cue. Are you done running? What the hell do you want? You should know that Daddy doesn't like to be kept waiting. He's already impatient that you were out since yesterday. Please, before you get in any more trouble, come with me. I'm not going anywhere with you. You're not even real. This is all just a dream. I'm going to wake up any time and this will be over. I didn't want to have to use force, Caden, but you're leaving me with no other choice. What? This game of yours have gone on long enough. At the rate we both are going to be severely punished for making him wait. So this will be your last warning. Come with me now. You wanted to back off and run, but the glint in the fox's eyes was icy and fierce. He could catch you easily. There was no point in trying to get away, even if you had to resort to underhanded tactics. You sighed to resign yourself to fate. Alright, you win. The fox's face softened again and his eerie smile returned. I'm glad you made that choice, Caden. Now we must hurry. We're late enough as it is. Gassil moved forward and brought out the collar once more. I'm not wearing that. A menacing aura eliminated off of him one that you used to feel from Leandro's when you managed to push his buttons too far. The way his eyes glared at you made you feel like you were half the size he was, a kid again, craning his neck up at a giant. I'll put it on myself. It seemed as though as long as you stayed complacent and docile, he was content. Actually, you noticed that he completely dropped his guard, something you knew the real Castillo would never do. Whatever the case, this was one of the strangest dreams you ever had, and you needed to find some way to wake yourself up quick. I don't know why you're making such a big fuss about it now. You've always wanted me to dress you, even more so than Leandro's. Leandro's, he's here? He is, I imagine he is likely attempting to calm Daddy here right now, which is why we need to hurry. By the way, who is this Daddy you keep mentioning? I can't imagine my father ever wanted to be called anything other than His Majesty. Caden, you must really be off today. Your father isn't here anymore. Besides, you know that Daddy doesn't like to be called anything else. Now hurry up and put that on, or I will put it on for you. You had hoped he would have forgotten about the collar, but Castillo seemed very intent on you wearing it. For whatever reason you didn't know, but this was a dream, so anything strange was fair. Castillo, you said my father wasn't here. Where is he then? Caden, why would you care where he's been? Well, he's my father, of course. I would care. I just want to know that he's safe. Even after all the things he's done to you, have you forgotten already? It appears that after we meet with Daddy, we'll have to call a doctor over because you have been acting far too abnormal. That poor light has got you all confused. Anyway, now don't make me repeat it again. Put it on. You wanted to ask more questions, but a fur on Castillo's back and tail were already beginning to bristle. After finally slipping on the collar, Castillo stepped forward and quickly tightened it before you had a chance to retaliate. This is too tight, isn't it? He gulped and the collar moved slightly to accommodate. There was about enough space for you to fit 2 fingers through, and from the looks of it, you would likely need assistance removing it later. It's okay. When he stepped away, you noticed that he had attached at least to your collar, and it was wrapped several times around his hand. Now there was no way for you to get away. He turned on it a few times to test its durability, causing you to nearly stumble forward. Alright, time to go. Conceals guided you by the leads towards your next destination before you had a chance to get another word in. He kept muttering to himself how late the two of you would be, and that this daddy guy would surely punish the two of you. As you walked past the servants and knights in the castle, you turned your head away insane. You couldn't even begin to imagine just what was going on in their heads to see such a sight. A beastman dragging a human along like a dog. Well, this got out. You could say goodbye to any dignity you had or whatever gained. But their faces never showed the slightest marks of amusement nor frowns of pity for you. They bowed their heads low in deepest respect, and not once did you hear them whisper to one another. It was as though this collar around your neck was a crown itself, and they would not dare to show any ounce of disrespect. Eventually you came to the doors, to the throne room. At least they looked like the ones. I know that you are likely out of it, but please remember to behave and do as he says. As much as I enjoy his punishment, there was only so much I could take. No more outbursts like you did earlier, alright? Whatever Casillas was talking about was even more disturbing. You simply nodded, and two knights guarding the throne room opened the door for you. There were more than a dozen voices all chattering around as you entered the room. Nobles gathered together in tight groups, likely talking about politics and money. As Casiro led you further in, their conversations died down, and they parted ways for the two of you. Was there some kind of social gathering happening right now? And then you remembered. If yesterday was your bath in the pool of light, then today would have to be the coronation, right? But if that was the case, then why were you dressed like this? Once more you felt your face turn red as they stared at you with unblinking eyes and impassive faces. It brought back your memories of the apostles in the catacombs as you made your way to the pool of light, a memory you wished you had forgotten. It made you feel insecure, so you kept your eyes forward. So it's finally come. I've been kept waiting for too long, as if all of our guests. A deep voice resonated through the room, one that you most certainly had recognized, but were even more surprised by. Your first question was, why was he here? Your second that immediately took over is, why he was even sitting in that chair. Slouched down in the throne with his usual smug grin was a large rhino, or as you knew him, Ramos. He wore a kingly robe that was clearly too short for him, as it draped over his shoulders and stopped at his thighs. Other than that, the only other article of clothing he wore was some velvet trousers, leaving his chest bare to show off his wide and virile physique. In one hand he held a golden scepter encrusted with jewels, and his other hand served as a pillow to hold up a bored-looking head. Perched upon his head was a golden crown, the same your father always wore. He eyed you carefully as Castillo stopped at the bottom of the steps and moved to the side so that he could get a better look at you. I have to say, though, you really outdone yourself this afternoon. His was like 1,000 eyes all on you at once, scoping out your entire body from head to toe. You gulped once more as he lit his lips. Pity, though. It took such a long time, 'cause now I'm in a bad mood that no amount of tempting attire will change. Out of the corner of your eye, you saw Castillo clench his fist on the rope and close his eyes. Now, Ramos, as we already informed you, Caden here was resting. His ablution in the catacombs took a lot out of him. If he were to come out earlier, then this performance would have been. If he were to come out earlier than this performance would have been a disaster. Your heart beat quickly once again as you recognized yet another voice. A lion from the walked out from the doorway behind the throne room and presented himself before Ramos. He kneeled quickly, then turned to look at you from the top of the stairs. You know how much I hate excuses, Leo. Just for that, you'll be visiting my chambers this morning, and I had better not hear any complaints about how sore you are from last night. Yes, Daddy. The lion hung his head low in obedience. Ramos had him tamed like a beast tamer. Caden stepped forward. Not you, Fox. Ramos's voice boomed through the hall as Castillo attempted to take a step up the stairs. He stifled and retracted his step and got down on one knee. My apologies, Daddy. There it was again, Daddy. Why were they all calling him that? Why were they all calling him that? I can't speak. There was again, Daddy. Why were they all calling him that? Ramos splayed out in his throne with a bored yet oddly seductive grin on his face. Just what was he doing here, and why had neither Leandros nor Castillo said anything yet? They both seemed perfectly tame, content about the circumstances. Were you really the only one here perplexed and alarmed? Despite it all, your feet began to move on their own, and the eerie cadence echoed through the hall as you made your way up the stairs, each step bringing you closer and closer to the throne. You had always dreaded walking up these steps. It was one of the few times that you even had the chance to see your father after your mother left. And this time was no exception. The knot in your stomach twisted tighter and tighter as you took the last step to the top. Stared at Ramos, whose proud and complacent smile warranted more concern. You got down to your knees, but kept your head up, facing the rhino. A sign of respect and subjection, but still remaining willful and strong. You just hoped that this bizarre dream wouldn't turn into another nightmare. He seemed pleased by your act of fealty as you watched his grin grow even wider. Now that Caden is present, shall we proceed? You know how I feel about formalities. Let's just get to the good stuff. Well then, Caden, I do believe you know what to do. Your attention was on Leandros for guidance on what this thing you were supposed to do was, but Ramos snapped his fingers abruptly. His grin faded for a moment. What are you looking at him for? Get to it. Ramos? Now, pup, what did I say about being called that? He rose an eyebrow in bewilderment. What? Already forgetting. Was there some kind of nickname for him that you didn't know about? You glanced over at Leandros, hoping for an answer, but he just kept his head low and his hands together like he was in prayer. Then it hit you. The Fox did tell you to call Ramos something similar to what he had been calling the rhino. Sorry, Daddy. Now that's a good pup. Now come closer. Daddy has an early birthday present that needs to be unwrapped. Ramos sat back to enter the throne and splayed his legs out real wide, revealing his crotch for the world to see. It was typical of him to do something so boorish, but he couldn't turn an eye. One of his hands moved down low and he scratched at the bows of his pants casually, or maybe it was to grab your attention even further. It seemed like he might have spoiled the surprise of the present he had in store for you. Not that it was hard to guess. Bessie can't wait to get that tiny mouth around it. I certainly can't wait. This time, though, I want you to go to the base and no complaining either. We have a crowd now, and they, as I, have great expectations for you. You suddenly felt lightheaded, your face flushed and hot. Every time Ramos rubbed his meaty hands over that mountain, your mouth began to water. As he toyed with himself, you noticed the thick snake like sifting around in his pants, and he gulped audibly. The size of that beast was not to be underestimated. You could already feel your jaw growing sore. Well, I ain't sucking you off first. Get closer so I can take a look at that pretty little mouth of yours. It is, he said, an inch closer before your master, your daddy. His playful smirk turned far more devious as he tossed the scepter in his hand to the side and reached forward with his other hand to grab onto the rope tied to your collar. The long leather rope became wound up in his fist as you had nowhere to run. As impressive as it may be, it ain't that long. Gonna have to get closer than that, pup. He yanked on the rope, sending you sprawling forth into his lap. There you came to your nose. When you came to your nose, was smashed into his crotch. His thighs closed in around your head, ever so slightly. With each breath you inhaled a cloud of his musk, sending you further into a tizzy. The rhino moaned with pleasure. It seemed as though your breathing was warming his already hardening thing. You could feel it moving like a worm, already beginning to swell and straighten, and the fabric was stretched even thinner. You traced your eyes up his body, past his rolling abs and mountainous pecs until your puppet eyes met his. He wasn't even the slightest bit remorseful as he taut the leads even more. Don't give me that look. I know how much you enjoy this. My smell always drives you crazy like a horny dog doted. Well, breathe it in all you want, 'cause you ain't leaving this position for a while. He kept a firm grip on the reins, keeping it tight with no way for you to move your head back. But even if he had taken off your collar, you wouldn't have left. This was your place now, kneeling in a church and worshiping your new deity like so many others in Rose's Cathedral. Your fingers danced down towards his bowls as you cradled the hefty bulge straining in his pants. His body twisted at your touch as you ran another hand up his ass and over his pecs. He let you play for a while, clenching his chest and tweaking his nipples. One of his rough, calloused hands caressed your chin, turning it from side to side. You nobles are blessed from the moment of your birth. Well, he's a noble. Such a pretty little face, so soft and pure. Your body jolted upright, eyes spreading open as you struggled to catch your breath. Sweat rolled down your face like a waterfall, and you felt as though you had been cooking in the oven. You could feel each beat of your heart, every pulse of blood as it ran through your veins. Even though you just woke up, you felt as though you were going to pass out again. You went to take in a deep breath to calm your nerves, but you struggled to fill your lungs. When you tried to lift yourself out of bed, something heavy kept you firmly pinned down. It felt as though a log had fallen on you, and it was not only keeping you from going anywhere, but making it hard for you to breathe. Somehow you managed to turn your head to the side, and your face was met with a pair of large nostrils that blasted you with a gale of moist hot air. From the look of things, you guessed that Ramos had rolled over in his sleep and was now lying on his back, taking up most of the bed. You were trapped under his arm, even with all the strength you could muster. You just weren't able to move the hefty thing. Ramos. You tried once more to sift him, but despite him being unconscious, he still held his arm firmly on top of you like a rock. Ramos. He only snored louder over your shouts and wouldn't even budge an inch as you attempted to push him away. He wasn't going to be waking up anytime soon, and you could feel your consciousness slipping. I need to get out. You inch your way to the edge of the bed, bit by bit, until finally, yeah, your entire body hurt from the fall, but you cared little about the pain. You focused only on your breathing, filling your lungs with air, and doing your best to calm your wheezing. After a quick moment of respite, your strength finally returned to you, enough for you to pick yourself off the floor. You glared at the wino, and your anger only grew when he decided to finally sift his arm, where it moved over to scratch his enormous belly. He grinned giddily in his sleep without a single clue in the slightest that he might have almost killed you. I should kick him for that. You thought about piercing his nose closed, having him see what it feels like to suffocate in your dream, but there was a chance that you might end up in an even worse position than before, like if he grabbed you or suddenly rolled his entire body over you. Either way, for all the commotion you caused just trying to slip out from underneath him, he was still sound asleep. You couldn't help staring at the rhino, though, in his vulnerable state. Eyes glued to his chest, his arms, his thighs all thick with muscle, then down to his underwear that held his enormous bulge. There was a small stain, a bit of a wet spot right in the center where you believed the tip of his thing to be, and you rubbed your jaw. Even though it was all just a dream, you could still feel the soreness from having to go down on the rhino. Of all the dreams I have, he had to be in it. Still, I can't believe it. I did that, even if it wasn't real. He's a pain awake, a pain in sleep, and a pain in my dreams. He started to mutter some incomprehensible name, and his thing began to harden. He moaned a bit and started to buck the air. After just a second, his face squinted hard, and he nearly bit his lip as a wet spot in his underwear grew and a thick white queen leaped out. His body went still, and he made a goofy smile as though he was pleased with himself. Is he having the same dream Caton just had? I wonder. It seemed he too must have had a wild dream, though. By the looks of things, he must have had a happier ending. He was still feeling flushed from the dream and being trapped underneath him, and needed to cool off. A bit of water and a nice breeze would do you more than a world of good. He quickly took a look around the house for some water, but there didn't seem to be any other than what was left to soak the pot Greta used for last night's dinner. It had a strange smell now, and an even stranger color, certainly not something you should risk drinking. You questioned if there might have been a well nearby. Either way, it was too hot in here, so he slipped on some of your light clothing and set foot outdoors. The cool air did wonders to clear your head. The doubt of you being in another dream began to wash away, and you felt a bit more at peace. But your lips were still chapped and your throat dry. You searched around the side of the house, but still found no water. There has to be a place where I can get a drink somewhere. It was still well into the night as the stars were twinkling in the sky. Your first thought was to visit the tavern. It would surely have something you could get a drink from, and those places usually stay open quite late. Perhaps I should avoid that place for a while. You move onwards through the countryside until you reach the gates to the town. They were obviously closed tight, but even when you knocked on them, no one answered. It would be hours until they were open again. You didn't have that kind of time. The water in the pot back at Greta's home was looking tastier by the second. You knocked on the gates again, even harder this time, and a small wooden hole slid open. What do you want? A slurred voice with beaming red eyes glared down on you above I need entry. I'm currently resting in the outskirts in a villager's home, but there isn't any water out here. Rules are no doors open till sunrise. Go drink from the river. The wooden hole slid shut. You heard steps recede from the gate. Hey, I wonder if he knew about them not letting people in the village at a certain time, and he went out anyway to get some water, or maybe he didn't know. I mean, he didn't know, that's one thing, but he just knew that and decided to go out and get some water anyway. That, in that case, he should have known. Hey, no matter how hard you knocked, though, no one came. Great. You sighed and walked around the gate until you found the river in Crescent. Thankfully, the water ran into the town rather than out, so you wouldn't have to worry too much about polluting the river. After drinking several handfuls, you washed off your face. If you weren't before, you were suddenly wide awake. Now there was no way you could get back to sleep, and honestly, you weren't sure if you wanted to. I'll probably be exhausted at dawn, and then Ramos will yell because I didn't get enough sleep. Waking up in the middle of the night wasn't unusual for you. As a kid, the night terrors you had to endure was sitting sprawling out of bed, where more often than not, you ended up injuring yourself. They had only subsided just a few years ago, but because of them, your sleep schedule was always messed up. It was one of the only times that you actually were able to meet with Castillo and speak with him as well, as he was active during both the day and night. Though after that dream, you weren't quite certain he would be the one you would want to talk to right now, even if it was all in your head. I'd almost forgotten about those. Guess my luck really hasn't been the greatest. Night terrors all throughout my life, only to be replaced with these strange dreams. Can't catch a break. You sat near the riverside and stared down into the water, thinking again of just how crazy this whole adventure had been so far. Assassinations, sea monsters, shipwrecks, grudge-driven Ceros. What else would surprise me? Guess I'm glad I'm not facing this alone. While he wasn't the most friendliest or preferable company to be around, you were still thankful you had someone. You dusted yourself off, heading back to the house. Part way across the field, though, you heard what sounded like mumbled chanting growing louder and louder. While difficult to see, the gate to the town swung wide open and dancing lights poured out. So much for doors not opening at night. As the lights grew in size, though, you realized they appeared to be flames. Is the town on fire? The fire didn't seem to emit much smoke, but it did seem to grow in size and spread out until they looked like willow wisps bouncing up and down. The townsfolk chanted in unison, carrying all manners of pitchforks and shovels marched out of the town and started their way down towards your direction. One man seemed to be leading the charge, his voice crying out through the night. He grasped at the word beastman and revenge, and that was all you needed to hear. Ramos, get up, it's urgent. Damn it, Ramos, wake up. Of all the times to be asleep. If shaking him and yelling at him wasn't enough to wake him, you doubted that slapping would do anything, but you were running out of options. If shaking him and yelling at him wasn't enough to wake him, you doubted that slapping would do anything, but you were running out of options. Every moment you delayed, the townspeople got closer, so you moved right up to the beast's head. Here goes nothing. You wanted your hand back and aimed for his cheeks. It seemed like he was going to wake, but if he wasn't snoring, I believe he was dead. Alrighty then, one more. Maybe he really is dead. No more Mr. Nice Guy. Ramos, it's time for you to get up. What? What the hell are you doing? Ramos had a vice-like grip on your arm so tight that you no longer could feel your fingers. He slowly got up out of bed and kept a firm hold on you. You had to move with him to risk your arm twisting further than it should be. Even as you grimaced from the discomfort, he didn't seem to loosen his grip. He looked at you with fierce yet drowsy eyes, like you had just killed his pet dog. I was trying to wake you. Yeah. Your feet left the floor as you were lifted up to meet the rhino face to face. Trying to wake me, Whatever happened to just shaking someone and saying their name? Ramos shook you like a doll as he spat in your face, yet there was little you could do to free yourself. I tried, but you wouldn't wake up. Clearly not hard enough. You slept like a log. I need to wake you up quickly. Ramos, can you let go now? It hurts. You slowly lifted yourself off the ground and rubbed your tender arm. There was now a large red hand-shaped mark around your arm the size of a melon. Do you have to grab me so hard? Hope you learn your lesson for next time. Still, you'll be fine in a few hours. Besides, you're lucky I didn't sock you. That would give you something to cry about. So what the hell you want that's so important you had to slap me away? That's right. People from the town are headed this way. So, they have pitchforks and shovels and torches. So they're playing the farm at night. They were shouting something about beastmen. I think we both know there's only one in town right now. That sheriff guy, I think he was leading them too. For fuck's sake, him again. Just get dressed and come out here, alright? What's with all the noise? Not even a rooster crows this much at sunrise. The old woman wobbled out of her bedroom, rubbing her tired eyes. Did you have a bad dream? What? Well, yes, no. Never mind, it's not that. You rushed over towards the window and peered outside. The town was already halfway here. The people from the town coming this way. Are they now? Whatever for? It's right past their bedtimes, I say. I don't know, but it's not good. They have torches. I think I might have spotted a few farm tools, pitchforks and the like. What do they plan to do with pitchforks at this time of night? Are they out and about for a bit of a moon harvest? Ramos wandered into the room, stifling a heavy yawn. He still hadn't gotten dressed as he strutted around in nothing but his underwear. He gave Greta a bit of surprise as a gasp escaped her lips when her gaze turned down towards Ramos's groin. He moved out of the way to allow the rhino to glance out the window. There's certainly a lot of them, all right. I wonder if the harvest started early this year. Weather had been a tad unusual. I don't think it's vegetables they plan to pick tonight. Damn bastard must have rallied the entire town. Do you mean Griffith? Is there anyone else you have in mind? What do you think he plans to do? Doesn't matter, we need to leave. Grab your stuff. Luckily you didn't have much on you in the first place. You retrieved your sword and fastened it back to your side. Leaving already? Right now, this hour? We're in danger of staying here. That sheriff, or whatever, is headed this way, and I'm almost certain it's not to ask for sugar. Knew he was a prick, but didn't think he'd go this far. Where are we going? Somewhere not here. The woods, maybe. Doubt they follow us in here. Now, hold on. Why don't we just talk with them? Gruffy may be a bit foolhardy, but I can assure you that he is a reasonable man. I can get a teapot boiling and set this all straight. I appreciate the effort, ma'am. I really do, but if he just wanted to talk, he wouldn't have brought the entire town with him. And even if he did, I doubt he'd listen or care about what I have to say. From what you told me about this village, I can wager a few of those villagers might have quite a grudge against beastmen. They came out here to put my head on a stick, and I think I can spy just the one they planned to put it on. But that's horrible. You've done nothing wrong. I know these kinds of people. Fear, anger, resentment. It's those kinds of emotions that are driving them right now. They see a beastman, they immediately think of the day that bandits attacked. To them, I'm just another bad apple, and they don't want to take the risk. If I was them, I know I'd be the same. I do wish you wouldn't have to leave so soon, though. I understand. Look, if they ask about us, just tell them we left as soon as you gave us dinner. Don't want to cause you any more trouble. Caden, are you ready to go? Yeah, but we don't have much time. What is it? Your clothes. Ramos looked down and was still in nothing but his underwear. Don't have time. Ramos quickly ran back into the bedroom and came back with his gear bundled up on his arm. Are you ready? Are you really going out like that? I ran through the night with less than this on, believe me. I don't doubt you for a second. But wait. Ramos stopped and turned towards the woman. Give me just a few seconds. Greta quickly ran into the kitchen and you heard all manner of pots and pans banging around. When she returned, she handed you a bag so full of food you wondered if it was going to burst. The next town over is Lyden, to the northwest, big town with people coming in and out. About a 2 days walk, so this will help. You must have prepared beforehand to have all this ready in a second. I knew that you boys weren't long to stay the moment I laid eyes on you, so I made this at night while the two of you were sleeping. Just the same, I couldn't stay longer. It does get quite lonely out here. Greta. Well, if you two are in trouble, they slip out through if you two are in trouble, they slip out through the side window and stick to the saddles. I'll see what I can do to stall them. No, Greta, don't try to cover for us. You already done more than enough. He's right. Don't do anything rash. Just tell him that we held you hostage, alright? Doubt he'd blame you for that. If they believe you were aiding me, they might think you were an accomplice. Right now, your best bet is just to tell them that we had left already. If they ask to enter your home, just let them in. Alright. Thank you for everything. He gave her a quick hug and dashed out. He dashed over to the window as Ramos was already scurrying through it. May the gods watch over you both. You nodded as you leaped through the window and closed it behind. The two of you kept to the saddles on the night, making sure to stay low and keeping the house between you and the approaching villagers at all times. You didn't know exactly where you were going. Greta said to head to the northwest, but you couldn't exactly figure where that was. Ramos, on the other hand, almost seemed to know where to go. The sound of villagers chanting got louder as they closed in on the house. You stopped for a second to look. You were well enough away that they'd certainly be able to spot you in the dark. The commotion died down, and what you could only guess was Greta and Gruffy talking. What the hell are you sitting around for? Keep moving, but we need to go, now. I'll go with Ramos, since it's his route. You didn't want to leave her all alone with that man, but you had to keep moving forward. That woman is tough. She'll be okay. Ramos's words comfort didn't make you feel any more guilty. Had you not bothered to talk to her at the river, if you had stopped Ramos at the inn before he got into that fight, she never would have been dragged into this mess. You set your eyes tight, balled your fists, and gritted your teeth. When you were safe, you would see her again, but would thank her again for everything that she had done. Build her a bigger house, and see that the town was rebuilt and brought back to its once glorious days. You peered over your shoulder and your eyes went wide. A plume of fire had engulfed the cottage, and the sky above was gray with smoke. No. You nearly stopped in your tracks, but Ramos took a hold of your hand, forcing you to continue on. Don't look back. Keep moving. Your heart sank further than the deepest ocean trench. If there was anyone who didn't deserve such a fate, it would have been her. You quickly wiped away any tears and moved on for hours and hours. It wasn't until the sun began to rise and the stars winked out of existence that your exhaustion began to take hold. Only then did you tumble forward onto the ground, gripping at the grass and holding in the urge to yell. Get up. Ramos, they killed her. You don't know that. Yes, I do. And it's all our fault. There was nothing you or I could have done. So stop getting these stupid ideas of playing the hero in your head. We ran away. We left her behind. We could have fought. We could have got her out of danger. Fought what? The entire town? They might have been nothing more than farmers with rusty tools, but even I wouldn't be able to stop them with their numbers. If we had stayed behind, I wouldn't have been able to protect you, let alone her. We could have helped her escape as well. And then what? Bring her along with us? At least until the next town. Don't be stupid. Trying to keep you safe is already hard enough, and that is all that matters right now until we get you to your relatives. We have to go back. Don't even think about it. We have to avenge her. Before you could take another step, Ramos gripped your arm and yanked you back. Let go. Don't make me drag you, kid. You couldn't wiggle yourself free, so you bit down hard onto the rhino's arm. Yeah, the fuck. Despite how hard you bit, he didn't let go. You wonder if it even hurt him, as his tough skin actually hurt your teeth a bit. Damn it, kid, don't make me hit you. Ramos tried to pull away, nearly dragging you with him, but you sunk in even harder, finally drawing a bit of blood. If there was a chance that you could get to help her, as she did to you, you had to take it. Damn it, kid, you're getting it now. Say good night. A solid strike to your stomach was all it took for you to loosen your jaw and keel over in pain. You didn't hold back, and your gut began to churn till you felt like throwing up. And not about to risk your life for hers. Your vision blurred, and you felt yourself being lifted up like a sack and thrown over Ramos's shoulders once more. You'll thank me later. You no longer had the strength to struggle as you lay limp on his shoulder. Greta. Never a dull moment with you, is there? So unlike all the others I observed. One so unbound, so fleeting, you bewilder me, you. Escape my perception. Oh? You look perplexed. But be still your mind. All will be explained in due time. For now you must leave. Show me more. Keep me guessing. For I will be watching with the utmost of interest. Alright, so a whole bunch happened there. So the beastmen who attacked this town in the past really affected the population of the town deeply and mentally. So they hate Beastman, and when they learned that Ramos was in Greta's house, they went to Greta's house. They talked to her for a moment right after they left, and then they burned her house down. So apparently, they were so hateful. They just burned her house down. They even didn't just go inside and try to get the wino. At least they just burned the house down. So she doesn't have a place to stay now. And I hope she didn't die. That's very bad. What happened to Greta? So as we get more into the game, it just shows how practical Ramos is. Doing what works and what's best, while Caden is very emotional and about revenge, and he's kind of like a more moral person. He's a more moral person, and Ramos, well, he does have some morals. He is very pragmatic. Just leave instead of going back to save her. Just leave and avoid the town people. So that dream Caden have with Ramos, that was something. I'm sure Ramos had the same dream, or not, at least a dream similar to that. He seemed to enjoy it very much in his sleep. Alright, so I hope she made it out alive, because that would be very sad if she ended up dying. And Caden talking about if they didn't do this, or if they didn't do that, or if they didn't do this or that, or went to this or went to that, or there's no point in thinking about that. I mean, what happened has happened. I mean, if you did something else, then something else will probably happen too. Then you'll be in that situation wondering what will happen if he didn't do that. I mean, there's really no point in regretting and thinking about what will be if you did something different. Alright, so like I said, hopefully Greta survived that. Saturday burned out her house. Now she's homeless. So we'll continue with Kingsguard next time. I think we got one more video to go, and then we'll be caught up with Ramos' swoop for now. So thank you all very much for watching. Goodbye.